what up? Welcome back to my channel. Hey guys, welcome back. Hey guys. Hey, what up? It's your girl Samia. Hey guys, welcome back. um, I'm here with a new video, clearly, because you're watching me. I'm gonna do a story time today because not people haven't asked me to do this, but I just feel like I should. People always tell me that I'm good at telling stories and that I'm so funny or whatever. So I'm going to attempt to do a story time. If you hear babies in the background, just ignore it. My sister's babysitting a baby, so just ignore that. And if you see a tail, it's my cat. So anyway, today I'm going to talk about my experience at a very popular makeup store called Sephora. So for those of you who don't know me, I am a makeup artist, and I have basically been just like freelancing for the past 4 to 5 years. I've been in makeup, like interested in makeup, loving makeup since I was like 10, so I've been doing makeup for a really long time. So yeah, basically my first ever job was at Sephora. It was an absolute dream. Like, I couldn't believe that they hired me. I couldn't believe that they even asked me to come in for an interview. I had just turned 18, literally the month that I applied. Here's how it all started. So there was a Sephora inside of a JCPenney at a mall that is not too far from where I used to live. So it was about 15 minutes from my house. We had just moved down there and I discovered the Sephora in JCPenney. So since I was about to turn 18, I was like, oh my gosh, what if I could get a job here? That would be absolutely crazy because I already do makeup. I love makeup. Why not? But they would totally never ever hire me. Like, I'm just a little kid and I can barely do makeup. So yeah, basically I just randomly mentioned that to my mom, and my mom was like, oh, let me just go ask them. So I was like, okay. I wouldn't have thought to do that, but okay. At the time I was like 17. So my mom just like randomly went up to one of the ladies who worked there, and this lady was a white lady, maybe in her 60s, I would say. Let's call her Rose. So she went up to Rose and she basically was like, hey, my daughter's interested in getting a job here. Do you know if you guys are hiring? And the lady like barely looked at my mom, kind of didn't even want to answer her question, was kind of just like, I don't really know, like basically like kind of just like brushed her off, was just kind of like, oh, I don't know. But then another girl who was in the background who also worked there had heard us asking about it, and she was really sweet, and she came up to us and was like, oh, like you can go and apply online, see if we have applications up. I'm not sure, our manager isn't here, but you can go check. So that night I went online, and just so happened that they just put up a job post literally like the day before or 2 days before, and this was, I believe, this was in April. I'm pretty sure it was in April. I think it was, I want to say it was like the 25th of April or something like that. It was like right after my birthday. So basically, I applied. I wasn't really expecting to hear anything back because I was like, I barely have any work experience. This is my first ever job. I don't have that much experience doing makeup on other people. And I literally just turned 18, so I didn't think that they would even call me back. I was like, you know what, I'll just put it out there in the universe. So about a month or two went by and I never heard anything back, and I was just like, whatever, like at least I put it out there, you know, at least I tried. And then randomly one day I get a call from this random number, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is the call. I just knew it. It said that it was from somewhere in Maryland. I was just like, oh my gosh, I think this is the call. So I was out, and I think it had just started raining or something. The service was bad, so I answered the phone, and it was the manager from Sephora, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And then the phone hung up because the service was so bad. I was just like, oh my gosh. So I tried to find some better service, and then I called her back, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, what were you saying, what were you saying? So she's like, basically, we saw your application and want to know if you're able to come in for an interview. And I'm like, absolutely yes, I will be there anytime, whatever, just tell me when to come in. So basically, I think it was like the next day or sometime that week, I went in for my interview. I beat my face as best I could, and the manager was like a middle-aged black lady. She seemed really nice. She basically asked me like the basic interview questions, like, what's your previous work experience? What makes you think you would be a good fit here? Just really basic interview questions. It wasn't anything special, to be honest. Like, when you Google interview questions, those questions that come up, those are the questions that she asked me. So this is my first ever interview. I was so nervous. I was probably shaking. I was really going through it. So I had basically did my interview. It was like 15 minutes, and there was another lady who was also there doing, like, there to be interviewed. She was maybe like in her 30s, maybe early 30s, late 20s, and I was just like, oh, I totally don't have a chance at all against this lady who is in her 30s. Like, I literally just turned 18. Why would they hire her over me over her? Like, that just wouldn't make any sense. They're totally gonna hire her, and I don't have a chance. So I was just like, okay, it was basically fun to be here, but anyway, I left. And then the next morning, I get a call, and they were like, hey, so we, really enjoyed interviewing you yesterday, and was wondering if you would like to accept the job, basically. And I was just like, what? I was literally shaking my boots. I was just like, what? What do you mean I got the job? What? And they were just like, yeah, this is how much we want to pay you. I think it was maybe about $11, something like that. This was in 2016. So I think minimum wage in Maryland was like maybe $10 or something like that, or $9.50 or something, and I think they paid me almost $11 an hour. So I was just like, I don't care what it is, I don't care how much you pay me. Yes, I will take the job. Yes, I'm there whenever you need me. So basically, I got the job. I started training like the week after, I guess, and then the training was basically me just like learning how to work the cash register, learning about the different products, like what products they have, the sections that they're in, how they open the store in the morning, how they close at night. That's pretty, like, how they want us to talk to the customers, how they want us to greet the customers, how they want us to go through the process of like doing a sale, and how to recommend products and link selling and all that kind of stuff. So basically, like, your basic like makeup store job, whatever. That was the training that I went through. It actually took them a really long time to get me my uniform, and it was a struggle for me because at the time I was wearing like an abaya. I would wear an abaya, like the Muslim long garment, and a scarf. So that's what I would usually wear on a daily basis, but then if I got my uniform in, it was like it would be a long dress anyway, so I would just wear that. But they didn't get me my uniform for like a good 3 weeks, maybe. It was almost like a month I had went without having my uniform. They didn't tell me that it was a problem for me to wear anything else, so I would wear my abaya. And I still was according to dress code, like it was all black and everything. Nobody told me that I couldn't wear that, so I didn't think that that was a problem at all. And plus I was only 18 years old. I was pretty young. I didn't really know anything. So basically I was just wearing that for the first few weeks, and then one day one of the, I think she was somebody up top, like the district manager or something like that. I'm not really sure. But she came in and she was like this middle-aged white lady, and she basically, as soon as she saw me, she came in and she like looked me up and down and was like, no, no. She was just like, what is this? I don't know what you're wearing, but this is not okay. We need to get her a uniform ASAP. Get her a uniform ASAP, because this is not okay. We can't have her in here working like this. That's basically what she said. And I was really taken aback, because nobody ever told me that I couldn't wear that, not even my manager. So I didn't see it as a problem. Nobody told me it was a problem. So for her to come in there and talk to me like that and say it like that and talk about me as if I wasn't right there was really disrespectful. So I was very offended by that. That was kind of like the first red flag. But I was just like, okay, whatever. Like, one rude lady, I don't even have to work with her, so whatever. They got me a uniform, and then everything was fine. So all of my coworkers, for the most part, were like really, really sweet. They were mostly like in their 20s, different races and backgrounds, like black, Hispanic, white. It was pretty diverse. So I got along with all of them really, really well. Some of them I still talk to now, and it's been years. But there's one lady. There was Rose. So Rose, what she did was pretty interesting. Basically, I found out that she didn't like me from another coworker. So I'm not the type to gossip. I don't gossip. It's not my thing. I think it's a waste of time. So I don't really usually know what's going on because I don't gossip. So I didn't find out that Rose didn't like me until maybe 2 months in. She apparently was talking about me behind my back to some of my other coworkers, saying that I don't do anything, saying that, like, basically I'm just a waste of space, and she doesn't understand why they hired me in the first place. Like, I don't know how to do anything, that I don't do anything. And she kept mentioning that I was coming late, and I will say that a few times, more than a few times maybe, I did come late, but it was only because I was relying on transportation from my mother. I didn't have my own car, so my mom had to like drive me back and forth to work. She has like 4 other kids, and I don't totally blame her, but it made me look bad. So basically, this lady was talking smack about me behind my back, saying that she doesn't like me at all. Those were her specific exact words, and it made me really upset. It made me really upset because, one, I'm gonna admit, I like to be liked. So the fact that somebody didn't like me, especially since I didn't do anything to her, I was just like, it's like, whoa, where did this come from? And then secondly, I am such a hard worker. Like, anybody who knows me knows that, or anybody who's worked with me knows that I'm such a hard worker. I will do any and everything. Like, anything you ask me to do, I'm on it instantly. You teach me how to do something new, I'm on it instantly. You tell me to sell however many products to a customer, I'm on it. I most likely will sell them all of that and more. Like, the customers love me. So, and I've been like that from the very beginning of working. So the fact that she was like going behind my back saying this kind of stuff, things that are totally untrue, was just like, wow, that is pretty hurtful, and unnecessary. And especially since she's like 65, it's kind of weird that she's talking about an 18-year-old like that. That was the beginning of her kind of like attacking my character or whatever. And I didn't say anything to her about it, clearly because I was just like really young and naive, and I was like, I don't really feel the need to. But it got to a point where I was closing with her, like almost every single shift I was closing with her, and basically make me do everything when we close. She would make me do stuff that nobody else even really did. Like, we had like a step-by-step how you're supposed to close everything that you're supposed to do, but there's things that you do a few times of the week, and then there's things that you do every day. She was making me do the things that you do a few times a week every day, and because I was basically working there almost every single day, and it was excessive. And she would even have me like go back and do stuff that I already did, because she would say that it's not good enough or whatever. And little 18-year-old me was just like, oh, okay, sure, whatever you say. Like, I don't want to talk back. Respect your elders, so sure. So basically, I just did whatever she said, just because I didn't know how to stand up for myself, I guess. And it was getting really irritating. So then she started like to ask me a bunch of questions about my home life and my personal life that I just wasn't really comfortable with sharing with her. Like, just like really personal questions. And I was just like, first of all, we're not friends. You don't like me. I don't understand why you're asking me all these personal things, and I'm not comfortable with sharing these things with you. So the one thing that really pushed me to the edge was when she started asking me all these questions. This is right when I got accepted to college. So she was like, oh, so you're going to school? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go into college. Yes, I'm like a regular kid. And then she was like, so who's going to stay home and watch all those kids? I said, excuse me, ma'am? She said, who's going to stay home and watch all those kids? Highly disrespectful. I was just like, my mother? Like, who else? Who else would watch? I don't have kids. They're not my children. I didn't birth them. So after she said that, I was just like, oh no, this is not okay. This is really not okay at all. I went home and I told my mom, and even my mom was really upset about it. I was just like, she's definitely after me. She definitely is trying to purposely be like degrading, and it was getting a little bit out of hand. Some other things that she would do, she would purposely she was racist basically, so she would purposely tell us to like watch people who came in that were like black and Hispanic. So basically she would racially profile people, and she did this all the time, like every day. Anytime she saw a guy come in that was black, she would come up to us and be like, watch him over there, you see him? Yeah, watch him. And we would just be like, he didn't do anything. He literally just walked in. Like, what did he do to be suspicious other than be black? What do you mean, watch him? So that was a problem with me as well. And then she had also made like a few other comments about like race and religion that were just really ignorant, and I can't even remember specifically the things that she said because it's been so long, but I just remember having to deal with that. So those were some issues that I had with Rose. But let's just rewind back a little bit. A few months after I started the job, literally I think it was like 2 months after I started, our manager had just randomly left and never came back until a year later. Nobody knew where she was. Nobody knew what happened. Nothing. Like, she literally totally just went dark on everybody. Even the assistant manager, who was like her best friend, she just totally lost contact with her, and she was just gone. Nobody knew what happened. And it was kind of scary at first, but then we were just like, okay, we have to continue on with our lives, because there was no type of like management or anything. So eventually the other JCPenney managers would like micromanage us, and the person who was kind of technically the assistant manager slash scheduler, she became like the one who was more so in charge of things. But yeah, we literally didn't have a manager for like a whole year, and the JCPenney managers didn't know anything about makeup, but they would come in there and try to like, one person would tell us one thing, another person would tell us another thing. It was just really frustrating. And then on top of that, they would have us do things that were not even allowed. Like, this one manager literally brought in a blush that she bought and used and tried to return it and told us to put it back on the shelf. She literally showed it to me, and she opened it up and she was like, yeah, I just used it like once or twice, but it wasn't the right color for me, so just take it back, give me my money back for it, and just put it back on the shelf. Like, just like wipe it off a little bit and just put it back on the shelf. It's okay. Like, nobody will be able to tell. It's fine. And I was just like, it's like, what, ma'am? You want me to do what, ma'am? And she was like, just put it back on the shelf. It's fine. It's okay. And I was just like, this feels wrong. This feels wrong. But I did it anyway because it's what she told me to do. It was really hard times when we had those JCPenney managers micromanaging us. They had us doing any and everything. So that was a hot mess. After a little while of working there, a few months later, a few months go by. I think it's like, I started in June. This is maybe like after the summer, maybe like September, let's say. I find out that Rose went behind my back to the now manager in charge and told her that my availability changed. She told them that I could only work weekends. So she purposely went behind my back, messed up my schedule, messed with my money because it was the summertime. I wasn't doing anything. I literally had never said this out of my mouth. I never said anything about my availability changing, nothing. She went behind my back, told them that my availability changed, and for the whole summer, I was only being scheduled 2 times out of the week. Once I found out, I was furious. The assistant manager was just like, I think I was talking to her about my schedule because I was like, oh, why am I only being scheduled for 2 days a week? And she was like, oh, well, I thought you could only work the weekends. And then I was just like, no, I never told you that. She was like, oh, Rose told me. So Rose was like, she was like this old lady who just worked there for so long. She literally worked at that JCPenney for 27 years. That's what I was told by everyone. She had been working there for 27 years. And she basically kind of just like walked over everybody, did whatever she wanted, talked to people however she wanted, and nobody would put her in check because of that. It was getting really frustrating, especially after I found out that she was messing with my money. I was just like, okay, now I know how to deal with her, and now I know that I have to be super clear and I have to start putting my foot down because this is not okay. After that, things were kind of like okay because I started to learn how to like work with her a little bit better and put her in check a little bit better. So anyway, in the meantime, we had got this other girl come in. Don't know where they pulled her off of the JCPenney floor. Yeah, she literally was just working for like the women's department or something like that, the women's shoes department. And I would always see her, and I would see that she wore makeup, and I was like, oh, like her makeup's kind of cute. And then one day she strolls into Sephora and she goes, I'm the new manager, guys. And I said, what? I said, what? And they were like, yeah, guys, this is your new manager. She's your, like, basically, like, your temporary manager since the other one is gone in the wind. And until she comes back, this new girl here is your manager. And let's call her Vanessa. So Vanessa, she was an interesting character. She was kind of a little bit like obnoxious. She had kind of an obnoxious personality. She was very loud. She talked to people like they were stupid. She would talk about people like they weren't standing right there. She would also talk about people behind their back. What made me really realize that she wasn't a good person was when we were doing a training, and she was like, oh, did you know that, let me think, what's her name? We're gonna call this other coworker, we're gonna call her Ashley. Or actually, I think there was an Ashley there, so hold up, not Ashley. Let's call her Sarah. Okay. So this other girl who works there, her name is Sarah. She's super, super, super sweet. Like, literally the sweetest person I've ever met. So she's just minding her business. She's over at the register. And Vanessa is giving me my training, and she's like, oh my gosh, so did you know that Sarah doesn't wash her face in the morning? Like, that's literally so disgusting. And I was like, first of all, what do you mean? Second of all, that's none of my business. So, and third, she's right there. She's literally right there. So this all feels wrong. And on top of that, you're the manager. So why are you, what's happening here? And it was just really confusing, but she was just like, yeah, like she doesn't wash her face in the morning and it's so disgusting. Like, could you imagine? Oh my gosh, I had to get on her for that. And anyways, let's just get back to the training. And I was just like what? That's literally so rude. Like, for you to say that, and she's literally right there. Like, if she said it a little bit louder, she would have heard her. I was really disgusted. I was just like, wow, people really be talking about each other like this? That's crazy. This is exactly why I don't gossip. And then a few of the other girls that was there with me from the very beginning, they ended up quitting because they were just like, this is crazy, this is a mess. We got people who are racist. They pulled out a random girl on the floor of JCPenney and made her our manager. They're making us put back stuff that is used, and it's just too much. It's too much. It's wrong. People started quitting left and right. And then I was like, you know what? I need this job. I couldn't really see myself working anywhere else, so I'm gonna hang in for a little while longer. And plus, I kept hearing rumors that Rose was gonna quit soon because she was getting old and she needed to retire. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I can hold off until she quits. A few months go by. Our manager, our original manager, randomly comes back out of the blue, out of nowhere. Nobody knows what happened. Some people thought she had cancer. Somebody thought she got her leg amputated. Nobody really knew what happened. So she comes back like nothing ever happened, and basically when she got back, randomly my schedule just started to look really weird. I was only being scheduled once every 2 weeks, and I cannot lie, I will literally find the screenshots. If I can find the screenshots, I was literally working once every 2 weeks. They would put me on the schedule. One day out of 2 weeks, maybe 2 days at the most, every 2 weeks. It was really weird to me because that had never happened. Even in the summertime when Rose had my schedule totally messed up because she lied to them about my schedule, even then it didn't look so bad. And I was just getting really confused, and I kept going to my manager and I was just like, I don't understand why this is happening. It's not like we're overstaffed. I don't understand. So basically, after I went to my manager, at first she was just like, oh, it's just because we just have too many people, to be honest, and we're trying to fit everybody into the schedule, and it just gets a little bit complicated. That's what she first told me. I went to her a second time and she goes, oh, I don't make the schedule, it just generates like that, so it's just generating you once every 2 weeks. That's what's happening. I'm sorry, there's literally nothing I can do about it. Okay. And then after going to our manager 2 times within the span, this probably went on for like 2 to 3 months, I had found out that Rose apparently had went to our manager and was telling our manager that every time I come in super duper late, and the whole, like, basically just like saying all this stuff about me that she was saying to the other coworkers about why she didn't like me. She was saying that to my manager now that my manager was back. And mostly she was saying that I come in super late, which was a lie, because first of all, the latest I would get there would be like 5 minutes late. That's the latest I would get there. And again, that was not my fault, and it was not as often as she was making it out to be. Apparently that's what happened, and that's literally the only reason that I can think of for them to stop putting me on the schedule. But it was getting really, really frustrating. It got to a point where I was just like, I'm barely making any money. I had time to work, and it was just like my schedule was pretty much fully open, and they weren't putting me on the schedule. I can't remember exactly what happened, but Rose was just, she really started going hard at me and like just like making little comments here and there. It really started to get under my skin. And even when I put my foot down, it was like that still wasn't enough to stop her. So I finally have went to our store manager, and so that's how you know things got bad. I went to our store manager and I basically complained to our store manager about Rose. Our store manager was a white lady in her 50s maybe. I told her about everything that she said to me, and like why I'm having trouble working with her, and even the racist comments that she would be making, and whatever else she would say out of the side of her neck. once I went to the store manager about this, she kind of just didn't care. She kind of just like smiled in my face, laughed it off, brushed it off, was just like, you know, there's nothing we can really do about your schedule if it's only generating you once every 2 weeks. And nobody else had this problem. It was literally only me. And I literally went to my other coworkers and I was like, I don't know what to do anymore. It's like I almost don't even have a job. And so basically it was like they just pushed me out, or they were trying to push me out and get me to quit. And I don't know exactly what happened behind the scenes. I don't know exactly what was said, but I know for certain that it was Rose's fault that I ended up getting pushed out, because she constantly made comments, constantly, about any and everything, just total lies, just making up stuff. I went to my store manager, I think twice, about her, because it was just getting really, really bad and really out of hand. And I remember I told my store manager, I was like, she's racist. And she was like, oh, no, let's not say that. Let's not say that word. We don't want to assume. And it's just like, if you're racially profiling people as soon as they walk into the store and you're telling us to watch them because they're black or Hispanic, and you don't say that about white people, it's called racially profiling, stupid. So you're kind of being racist. Anyway, after that happened, it was just getting really frustrating, and it was affecting my mental health. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to try to make it to a year, so I can just be here for a year, and it won't look bad on my resume. I'm just going to try to just push through for it until June. June came around, and the same stuff was happening. They weren't scheduling me, and so I called the manager, and I was just like, what's good? What's good? Like, at this point, catch me outside. No, but basically I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I don't know if it's that you guys are just trying to push me out. I don't know what the reason is, but I know that nobody else is receiving the same treatment. I don't know what this is about, but I can't do this anymore, and I quit. Like, I'm not gonna let you guys waste my time anymore. I quit. Over the phone. And that sounds really bad. Honestly, I wasn't being scheduled. It was kind of like I didn't even work there anymore. If I had been on the schedule, I probably would have put in my 2 weeks notice, like, when I went in one day, but I wasn't even on the schedule, so yeah. I just did it over the phone, and then I basically just put in my 2 weeks notice online, and that was it. I was done. I was done with them by June, and literally the next week I had another job. I got a job at the body shop. I had 2 different locations of the body shop begging me to come work for them within the next week. So, moral of the story is, when you finally get to a place in your life where you know that something isn't serving you anymore and it's really affecting your mental health, sometimes the money isn't worth it. Sometimes it's just not worth it. And I love the job. I can say that I love the job. I love doing makeup on people. I loved the people, the customers who came in were just, most of the times they were just so sweet. And I loved working with them. It's literally my passion. I love it. But I couldn't take the clickiness of the Sephora type atmosphere, and the talking behind the back, the gossiping, and then just the dishonesty, the racism. It was too much. And I couldn't deal with it anymore. My best advice is that, like, even if you do feel like that might be your dream job and that's what you're doing at the moment, but you're not being treated right and it's affecting your mental health, I would say that it's not worth it. And when you let bad things go, good things come, and I can say that for a fact. That's my story. That's how I ended up quitting Sephora, and I've been wanting to make this for a really long time, so I hope you guys enjoy it. It's been a few years, so my memory is not totally great when it comes to that experience. I try to just block most of it out because it's really sad. I wanted to continue to love it so much, but it just didn't end like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and maybe I'll do another story time. I hope you guys have a great day, and thank you so much for watching.